Acolyte has a Star Wars fandom split on if it's a great show or a terrible show. Well, that seems to happen with all Star Wars properties, but let's not forget what makes storytelling important. Outside of entertainment value, it teaches us about humanity. So let's take a look at a few things that this season of Acolyte teaches us as humans. If this video brings some introspection and reflection to your life, go ahead and give it a like and go ahead and subscribe to watch more videos like this. The first thing I want to bring up is how we have to right our wrongs before it's too late. We all make mistakes and cause pain to others in life, right? It's going to happen. But what the most important thing we can do is after that pain occurs, that damage we've done, we need to right our wrongs, right? Soul never did this. And because of that, that's what led to this man's death. So Soul thought he was doing the right thing the whole show by trying to protect May and Osha, right? But in doing so, he was actually hurting them because he was putting his own selfish desires above them, right? And above everything else. And so instead of being a protector, he ended up being the one that was doing the damage to them. And unfortunately, it was too late for this man to make amends before Osha up and force choked him. So if Saul was able to have that awareness of what he was doing, I don't even think he was aware of it. He thought he was doing the right thing the whole time because he was just so blinded by his vision of what protection looked like for him that, you know, if he was able to have that awareness, things probably would have ended up differently if he could have just listened to Osha, told her the truth, and took the steps of healing in that journey. Man, probably wouldn't have ended up dead on the floor. We really need to remember that we may think that we know what's best for other people, but at the end of the day, we need to give other people the agency to do what they want to do and to be there to support them if they stumble, right? Because if we try to control all that, nothing good is going to come from that. By the way, on Patreon, I have a video ranking of my favorite episodes of season 1 of The Acolyte. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and visit the Patreon. Going on to the second theme, right? Repressing emotions never works. Now, this theme is something that's been in Star Wars forever because it's at the core tenets of being a Jedi, which makes no sense to me, which is to control your emotions and not let them affect you, essentially, right? And there's actually a great quote, a great scene from the show that actually addresses this.
I think the Jedi are a massive system of unchecked power, posing as a religion, a delusional cult that claims to control the uncontrollable.
We don't control the Force.
Not the Force. Your emotions.
Now listen, all emotions need to be acknowledged and addressed. Inside Out understands this, but Jedi apparently don't. It's not until we become aware and name the emotions that we feel that we're able to have them leave our body and, you know, they get untrapped from wherever we're holding on to them, right? And there's just a really big irony here in Star Wars about how there's a light and a dark side, but in a lot of ways, the rules of the light side drive a lot of people to the dark side because just how unaccepting the light side actually is. Essentially, the light side doesn't allow for all parts of your humanity to be accepted, right? And then people rebel. They turn to the dark side because of that. And it's funny because like if the Jedi just had like more acceptance, I wonder how powerful that would be in their fight with the dark side. If you think about it, they wouldn't even have to pull out lightsabers most of the time. And it can be like in real life here, it could be really scary to face emotions that have just been building up within us for months, years, lifetimes. And sometimes you may need the help of someone like a therapist or someone else to guide you through those emotions, and do not be ashamed of such a thing. Emotions are complicated, they're tricky. Sometimes we need that help. And, you know, sometimes we can hold on to too much, right? And that just makes us lead to things that we regret, which goes to the third theme of what I think we need to learn from the Acolyte, which is our vision of accountability and punishment needs to change as a society. Now, this may be controversial, but in America, we live in a society that loves punishment. We thrive on it. Like economically, we even thrive on it. Unfortunately, private prisons. And yet we know that the fear of punishment doesn't keep people from behaving in certain ways. It's actually acceptance and openness that prevents people from doing terrible things in the first place. And relating this to the show, like the Jedi withheld the information of what happened on Brendok originally because they were afraid of how they would get punished. Vernestra withheld that information at the end of the show to the Senate because she was also afraid of how she would get punished. And I just feel like this is how it works in real life too. The fear of punishment doesn't keep people from behaving badly. They still will, or making mistakes, right? However, what it does is it makes people lie their way out of situations because they don't want to face that punishment, or they'll do desperate things to avoid that punishment and that desperate, like when, hey, what do they say? When desperate times call for desperate measures, right? Which leads to making even more mistakes and more regrets. And so we need like a new system of accountability that like allows people to right their wrongs and change their ways, right? I'm not saying let people off scot-free from doing terrible stuff, but it's clear that what we're currently doing with how we're such a punishment society right now and how everything's implemented on a societal level is clearly not working, right? It's clearly not working. I don't have any type of actual solutions of how to implement anything on a societal level for change like that. But I mean, you can start yourself in interpersonal relationships, right? As parents, as friends, and things like that. I do think though, before you even get to the accountability part, things like having better education, food supply, living situations, all those things prevent people from doing terrible things in the first place that they end up regretting. A lot of things come from desperation. So start there. So these are just 3 things that I had noticed when I was watching the show that I was like, you know what, I want to talk about these. But the Acolyte, it has so many themes and so many stories that, you know, have some great lessons that we can learn when it comes to our humanity. And remember, that's the real beauty of storytelling, is that gaining of empathy, right? It allows us to step into other perspectives, see other perspectives. That's the true beauty of storytelling. Amazing. So as you're watching shows, take that minute to self-reflect, get some introspection going there. It'll make the shows even better for you. Like I said, if this video brought you any introspection and reflection on your life, go ahead and leave it a like. And if you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe. Until next time, I'll see y'all.